been practicing for over 12 years. I was born and raised in Missoula. This is where I want to practice, this is my community, and I want to be there to help the people who I grew up with.
I began my legal career in the United States Marine Corps. And I moved to Missoula, Montana and began practicing, and I just couldn't imagine a better place to live. What inspired me to become an attorney is I really have a passion for people, especially helping people. What we do here at Holloway and Hulling is we represent people that are in a very difficult time of their life, and we're here to make sure that their rights are protected and they get what they deserve.
Yo, what's up everybody? Colter, Nuanez, SkylineSportsMT.com, coming to you from the Grove Hotel lobby. I'm out here, so I'm trying to edit up this video as quick as possible to get you the latest and the greatest when it comes to the first quarterfinal game of the Big Sky Conference tournament. We got an upset. Madness is absolutely upon us, and for the second year in a row, Eastern Washington goes down in their first conference tournament game. Eastern Washington 16-2 during conference play a year ago and 15-3 this year, but the top seed goes down for the second year in a row in the quarterfinals. Eastern lost on a buzzer beater last year, heartbreaker. This year, they got pretty much outworked and outplayed from start to finish by Sacramento State, and now all of a sudden there's this omnipresent narrative, right? David Riley, the head coach of the Eastern Washington Eagles, he's been the Big Sky Coach of the Year 2 years in a row. He was co-coach of the year this year with Steve Smiley, the head coach of Northern Colorado. But you go one and done in the tournament, and now all of a sudden you got a monkey on your back. You got to figure out how to win a tournament game, and that's where Eastern Washington's at. Sacramento State, the 10 seed, the last place team. To be fair, and we'll hear from David Patrick, the head coach of Sacramento State, as well as a couple of the Sac State upperclassmen here in just a minute. We're experimenting with some things here at Skyline Sports, but I'm going to splice in some press conference clips. David Patrick decided to go young. They lost 11 games in a row, but now they've won 4 out of 5, so they've really turned the corner. So that's great credit to Sac State, but this is the 10 seed. This is a team that lost 14 out of their 18 conference contests. And Eastern Washington won 15 out of their 18 conference contests and one and done in the tournament again. Here's the worst news for Eastern Washington. The conference champion that does not win their conference tournament no longer gets an auto bid. For years and years and years, conference regular season champions that did not win their conference tournaments got an auto bid to the NIT. That's not the case anymore. Last year, Eastern Washington went and salvaged their season after losing on that buzzer beater to NAU by beating Washington State in the NIT. That's not going to happen. That's not a scenario now. So the question marks are real at Eastern Washington. I'll tell you a little story. As a sports writer, as somebody that likes to write the stories of these programs, sometimes you roll the dice, right? You're working on a story for a while, you do the interviews, you have the whole thing laid out. When am I going to run this thing? And then you make an assumption. Well, I had planned on running the Eastern Washington feature that I've been working on for a little while when Eastern won this game. I thought they were going to win against Sacramento State. So I was going to write the feature about the story of their season as the Big Sky champs, and then include the winning score, the winning synopsis against Sac State. Well, feature's dead. Crumple it up, throw it in the trash can. Kobe. But it's no good if you're Eastern Washington. So certainly a crazy result, but guess what? Now the bracket is wide open. The final score, Sacramento State 74, Eastern Washington 69. The Hornets get 19 points from Z Hamoda, who's a junior, one of the only upperclassmen on this team. And Akol Maiween has 17 points. He had 25 in the first round as Sacramento State got past Idaho. So Akol Maiween having a tremendous tournament so far. And the Sac State team, they've got a little juice. David Patrick decided to go young. They took their lumps. They lost 11 in a row. And now here they are with a tournament victory. not just a tournament victory, their second tournament victory and a victory over the number 1 seed in the Eastern Washington Eagles. So we will share some clips from the press conference. I take these in clips so I can post them on Twitter more easily. So I'm not going to do rejoins in between each, but you'll see those figures. When it comes to the Sac State side of things, you'll see Z Hamoda as well as Akol Mawin and David Patrick. And from the Eastern Washington side, you'll see David Riley, the head coach, as well as Cedric Coward, their first-team All-Conference slasher, and Ethan Price, their second-team All-Conference big man. Cedric Coward had 22 points and 6 rebounds, and Ethan Price had 11 points and 6 boards. But Eastern Washington one and done at the Big Sky Tournament for the second year in a row. SkylineSportsMT.com as we come to you here live. Kyle Hansen saying what's up. Check out that video that he and I did to preview this tournament. He called it. He said, hey, David Riley has to prove that he can win a tournament game. And Kyle Hansen from MTN and Scripps Sports, he called that Eastern might be in tenuous territory. But right now we got another upset brewing. Idaho State up 35-30 over Northern Colorado, but still almost 20 minutes to play. It's just the beginning of the second half. So that's where we're at in this second quarterfinal. Keep on tuning in, SkylineSportsMT.com, as well as at SkylineSportsMT on Twitter and on Instagram. Appreciate you so much for joining us. More coverage coming up right after this. We'll get this thing started with Sacramento State. David Patrick and his players from the post game on Sunday night here from Boise, Idaho.
Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any town pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Right down the road, pump it up, yeah.
First of all, I want to tell Eastern Washington what a great season they had. Obviously, a great game again. We had the same game with them on Monday night, and Coach Riley and his staff and team do a phenomenal job. We had to bring our best out to get them, so thank them. And then lastly, my team, like my upperclassmen, senior here on the right, junior here on the left, the way they read into the scout last night, the way they performed, the way they were able to bounce back from the surge that Eastern Washington gave us in the second half. You got to commend that team and that upperclassmen for doing that.
Coach, can you just talk about the process of getting better throughout this year? I mean, they had a sustained run. You guys were better in this game. So how'd you guys sort of have the patience to get here?
Yeah, look, we talked about it last night. We have 12 new guys on this roster from different continents, different countries, different teams, especially through the transfer portal, etc. So not only learning a new basketball language, sometimes it's a new English language for some of these guys. And so that takes time, and for us, they never hung their head. We probably got blown out 2 or 3 times, which happens in the year, but for the most part, it's been 2 or 3 possession losses, and they've come back to work every day and stuck together, having pointed fingers, and it leads to this. So I felt like the last month of the year, even though we had some setbacks, our teams got better, and it's getting better at the right time.
Process of this year as well. I mean, you guys had a tough stretch there, but now you've really turned the corner. You're playing really well right now. What's been the biggest difference?
No, for sure. When we first started, like the year, it was obviously like rough and shaky. Like everybody was, getting into it with each other. Like we're just trying to find our identity. And as the year went on, I guess we slowly came together, through like understanding, okay, yeah, through our losses, we all just came together and just figured out ways to, just make those big mistakes smaller. And we just went with that mindset, and that's really been our main focus right now, and mentality. So I think that's the biggest change, just a mentality shift.
Them being the number 1 seed, you guys didn't seem intimidated at all. I mean, you were up 9-2 before they even kind of got their feet underneath them. So just talk about the mindset before this game.
I mean, we came to this game with a winning mindset. That at home we didn't lose by 3, and we had really that thought that we could win if we really come together and stick to the scouts and stick to their plan. And we did, I think, we did pretty good staying on the plan and staying on the scout.
Less than a week ago, how much did that just help? Just you kind of know them and you prepared for them already.
Look, I think they're when I took over this job, they're the team I think to beat in the league. Just from afar. I was fortunate enough in AK to have two of their players when I was at Oklahoma, the Groves brothers, so know their program well. And so when I try to put my roster together, it's how do you beat Eastern? How do you compete with Montana and Weber? And so, we have talent on our team, and it takes time for it to gel. Even in the NBA, it takes time, and I think, like I said, I think our guys, man for man, believe and know that they're as good as anybody in this league, and they showed it again tonight.
When you beat the number 1 seed, you are the number 1 seed. So what do you think about this tournament moving forward?
Look, I didn't even know who we were playing next until the interview. Look, we played Montana State and Weber, who we split with on the year. And so obviously we're familiar with both opponents. We obviously have a pro in Dylan Jones and the senior leading team. And so does Montana State in terms of older guys and Ford and Garaki. I think the one thing about my group, we play so many freshmen, 5 freshmen. They don't know number 1 seed, 8 seed, 10 seed. They're young and wet behind the ears, I think, which helps in this type of environment. So we'll go back, get some rest tonight, and get some rest tomorrow, and figure out tomorrow evening what we're preparing for.
I think just staying grounded, having that same mentality, staying together, just blocking out the outside noise. We like every day we go to eat dinner or eat breakfast. There's no one person better than the other. I think that's what keeps us together, just being grounded with each other and just being able to be together, for sure.
I would say I agree with AK. I mean, I can tell that everybody put his head down and keep working and, go extra work by themselves. So that's how we grow as a group. And our relationship, which together is very good, very tight, which is make it easier on the court to talk and, communicate easier.
A little bit about what we tried to do defensively. There was a little stretch in the second half. I think you guys had 5 or 6 empty possessions in a row, and they didn't make up any ground. What were you trying to do defensively?
Look, after playing them now against 4 times as a coach in this league, is you can't give them the same look every time defensively, because I think they do a phenomenal job of exposing where you may be switching from or where you may be doubling from. So we tried to mix it up a lot, whether it's switching 1 through 4 or switching 1 through 5 or doubling the post, which is easier said than done. And we've been trying to do it all year, but it takes time to do that. And I think our guys have bought into that, and I thought it helped us. We tried to, it's hard to stop Coward and Jones there in the post. I think our guys battled there physicality-wise and limiting the 1 shot. And the other part was like we defended the 3. We were real big about they like to get out in transition. They like to shoot 3s. And I thought when we were missing shots, we were still springing back in transition and able to stop their easy baskets in that stretch there in the second half.
Probably every senior dreams about the last conference tournament. You're playing really well. Just what does it mean to be playing this well in your last chance to sort of keep your career going?
It means the world. I feel like with the group of guys we got, like the confidence that they're giving me, and also the coaching staff that I have, the confidence that they're giving me just helps me to push even further. They're just they're basically, for me, I go into every game knowing it's my last game. So if I'm not putting 100% out there, then I'm failing myself and my teammates. So I try to keep that standard and mentality with myself every day, in every game.
What is a jewelry design center?
JDC is a family-owned business with deep roots in Montana. Why Montana? Because this community made us family, made us artisans, made us believe in love, made us hometown heroes. Because this community made us shine. Why Montana? Because Montana is home.
Your final score, presented by Idaho State, Sacramento State 74, Eastern Washington 69. Final. Congratulations to the Hornets. Tuesday semifinals game.
Yeah, tough loss. At the end of the day, when you go play these games, someone's going to lose, someone's going to win. We just didn't have our night tonight. Hats off to Sac State.
David, what is it that they did that gave you guys troubles tonight?
I thought they mixed up their defenses a little bit. They did a great job on the glass, which is something they've done all year. You know, I think these tournament games, right? It seems that play to their identity the best win. And I thought they did that. Like they did a great job on offensive glass. They slowed the game down. On the flip side, we didn't necessarily play to our identity the best possible way we could have, unfortunately.
Ethan, you guys have such a size advantage against pretty much everybody in the league. They have great size, though. How much did that sort of equalize the playing field?
I mean, yeah, they had a couple of bigs, so they play at the same time, kind of like how we do. I don't think that's an issue for us. I just think we just went physical enough for the glass, and got straight up.
Cedric, how would you describe just what went down tonight?
Sac State played a great game. I mean, don't get it twisted. We left it all out there on the floor, and I love the guys do that out there. I mean, like Coach said, sometimes the ball just don't roll your way. They played a great game. We didn't play to the best of what we could play, and the results showed that.
About the mind, just the feeling in the locker room, this happening to you guys twice in a row.
Yeah, you know, it's a different season, but the feeling in the locker room after the game, just honestly, it was a lot of love in there. Like, this has been an incredible year with these guys. That I don't think one game should define the season we had. And so we just kind of talked about, I talked about personally, I guess, I didn't get into this necessarily for the wins and losses. I got into it for the relationships and the ability to be a part of these guys' lives at an important stage. And so, to me, it was an incredible season. I know for these guys, they got a lot out of it. It just sucks that it's got to end this way. At this important time, it's just one of those games. We didn't shoot it well to make from this game, and they played better than us tonight.
Ethan, can you talk about the disappointment?
Yeah, it's disappointing. Not really much else to say.
Cedric?
Same thing as Ethan is disappointed. You know, obviously, we're out there getting the job done, but
Is it hard to come up with words right now?
I mean, yes and no, because I could, you know, just say all the mistakes we had in the game, stuff like that. But in reality, it's just Sac State played better. I mean, it's not much to say, and it's not like we played absolutely horrible. We just didn't play to the best of our ability.
What else in terms of not playing to your identity?
I thought early on we got spread out a little bit. They hit a couple threes. Didn't play inside out defensively. One of our lowest assist games of the year. I think we had 15 assists. We're taking some real, you know, not just some tougher shots early rather than getting multiple paint touches. I mean, those are the two that kind of stick out to me. And quite frankly, like I got to do a better job putting our guys in a position to win. When you go look at these games against a team like Sac State, where we beat them twice, we probably had to make some different adjustments and should have anticipated a few things. And I think our guys left it all on the floor. They played their butts off. They did exactly what we asked of them. You know, I want everyone to know, like our players to know, like they did everything they were asked of. And I think it's on us to put them in a better situation.
They decided to go young about a month and a half ago, and they had that, I guess, 11-game losing streak. But now they've won, I think, 4 in a row. So I mean, how've they changed? How've they turned the corner?
I think they're playing a little looser. They're playing with a little more swagger. I don't know the right word right now. But I think it just speaks to kind of like the importance of Colter. DP does a great job of instilling that. He's a really good coach, and just making sure the right guys are running the show in your system. And I think that kind of shows in the way the ball moves now. Cultures and just the guys, the chemistry is a really important piece, and I'm glad you figured that out late.
me in your future, or maybe you'd do it all over again. Hi, I'm Brian Toon with Jewelry Design Center, inviting you to come see the largest selection of Will You Marry Me in the state of Montana. The brightest diamonds of every shape and size, unique settings built to last, and skilled jewelers on site offering free sizing and maintenance for life, because that's how long we want to be your jeweler. Jewelry Design Center in Missoula, on Brooks, across from the Montana Club.
Big Sky After Dark. It's not quite after midnight here in Boise, but pandemonium ensuing at Idaho Central Arena. What a crazy day. We're going to get into why maybe it wasn't as crazy as you might think, only because I thought, and every coach says this every year, but I think that there was a lot more vindication when the coaches were saying this all year long in the men's side of the Big Sky Conference. The league's wide open. Travis DeCure, Montana head coach, talked about it with me frequently about how Eastern Washington was in the driver's seat from the beginning, certainly, and David Riley and his team deserve credit for that, but they were not that much ahead of everybody else in the league. Weber State experienced some up and downs, but they also had a high when they won in Cheney. Montana State beat every good team in the league besides Montana. The Grizzlies went up and down until they finally figured it out. Northern Colorado swept the Grizz, so there was a lot of crossover matchups in this league. And then you talk about Idaho State. They lost 11 games by 4 points or less, including 7 one-possession games. Then you talk about Sacramento State. David Patrick completely overhauled his roster, changed the entire thing beginning of February, went with full-on freshman movement, playing 5 freshmen in his top 9. Well, they lost 11 in a row, took their lumps, took it on the chin. Then what happened? They turned the corner. They won 4 out of 5. I remember saying on Nuanez Now, our ESPN radio show, Sac State's coming, because if you go win in Bozeman, when they have a great home court advantage, especially on a Saturday night, you're a team to be reckoned with. That Montana State team then bounced back and took Eastern Washington all the way down the wire. I mean, Montana State surged into this tournament, including whooping Weber State on Monday night, less than a week ahead of this tournament. So the topsy-turvy nature of the Big Sky Conference has been all over the map. It's been the strangest time in the league's history for me to analyze it, because the ebbs and flows. I mean, the way that the transfer portal and the NIL and all these different factors that go into Division I college basketball have gone. Every single player in the Big Sky that was a first-team All-League, second-team All-League, third-team All-League guy that was supposed to return this year, they all left, except for Anan Moody, who's totally atypical. He's a 7th-year senior at Montana. And then Dylan Jones, they threw the kitchen sink at him from an NIL perspective to make sure he stays. Everybody else is gone. And look at these guys. They're thriving. Dalton Connect at Tennessee. Great Osabar and Darius Brown at Utah State. Isaac Jones at Washington State. You can just go on down the line. Danny Sprinkle's killing it at Utah State as well as a head coach. So the Big Sky was a complete mystery coming into this year. And now, after the first day of the quarterfinals in the Big Sky men's tournament, it's still a complete mystery, because guess what? The 10 seed moving on, Sac State upsets Eastern Washington. And then the second upset of the day, Idaho State pretty thoroughly beats Northern Colorado. That is the first time in the 60-year history of the Big Sky Conference that the 1 seed and the 2 seed lost on the same day. We gave you the breakdown of the Sac State Eastern game earlier on in this video. We're trying these things out now. Everybody tells me you like the multimedia, you like to watch us talk, so here we are talking from the Grove Bar. It's about 10 till midnight here in Boise. Sitting next to Sac State play-by-play man Will Schilling, kicking it here at the Grove. Brooks Nuanez is across the way. Got some Northern Colorado players behind me, so we're just making it work. But Idaho State wins 83-76, so the 2 seed Northern Colorado ousted after their first game. Miguel Tomley, 28 points for Idaho State, and also played tremendous defense, as did Malik Arrington. He had 11 points, 8 assists, but I thought that Ryan Looney's game plan, this was a brilliant game plan. St. Thomas, Northern Colorado, one of the best players in the conference. I thought he was top 2. Him and Dylan Jones, those are the best players in the conference. They held St. Thomas scoreless in the first half. He finishes with 12 points. He had 8 assists in the first half, 9 assists overall, so he definitely distributed the ball well, but only 4 of 11 from the floor, only 12 points. This is a 20-point-per-game guy. This guy was probably the runner-up for MVP behind Dylan Jones on the men's side. He's an outstanding player. I thought he was the most impressive player I saw in person this year. He scored 37 at Montana in an overtime win that helped get the Bears the 2 seed. That was one of the defining wins in the tiebreaker. So great defensive effort by Idaho State. When I mentioned Malik Arrington, here's what they did. They did not put Malik Arrington directly on St. Thomas. They put Malik Arrington on the player that they thought was going to set the screen for St. Thomas. So then when they could switch it, Malik Arrington would be on ball and St. Thomas wouldn't have as much of a mismatch. Arrington's certainly one of the best on-ball defenders in the conference. Great coaching by Ryan Looney. He'll get into that here in the press conference. I know I gave you clips earlier from David Patrick and David Riley from Sac State and Eastern Washington. We're just going to do the full press conferences here for the nightcap because they had a timer on it. Legendary Montana SID, Dave Guffey, former SID. He's at Montana for much longer than I've even been alive, but he's helping out at this tournament, and so he had a timer on. So we only have 6-minute clips from each of those. So we'll give you those in their totality. But on the women's side of this Big Sky tournament, the top seeds hold. Eastern Washington got a scare. They were down by 9 points halfway through the third quarter to Weber State. 13-3 run to rally all the way back. They outscored Weber State 24-12 in the in the fourth quarter, and win going away 71-58. And then in the second game, tied at halftime between Northern Arizona and Sac State. Actually, Sac State was up 1. Is that right? 29. Yeah. Will's stat checking me over here. Sac State was up 1, 29-28, and Will knows. He's calling every single one of these plays. So, and then NAU wins going away. The offensive proficiency of NAU on full display. Sophie Glancy, a monster, 30 points, 11 rebounds. She absolutely proved why she was first team all-conference this year. So the top seeds on the women's side hold. Neither of the top seeds on the men's side hold. This is the 61st anniversary of the Big Sky Conference. Never has both the top seeds lost on the same day, including, I believe this is only the second time, the last place team, Sac State, beat the first place team, Eastern Washington. So you could say it's crazy. In our pregame show tomorrow, when we have a little more energy, Brooks Nuanez, Andrew Houghton will join us, and we'll talk all about the whys. I think there's a whole different variety of factors here in terms of the hype machine, the way that exposure impacts the mentality of teams, the programs there at both those top programs, because make no mistake, David Riley, he inherited a well-oiled machine from Shante Leggins. Make no mistake, Steve Smiley inherited a well-oiled machine from Jeff Linder. Then you look at those two teams that pulled the quote-unquote upsets. Ryan Looney, X's and O's, one of the best coaches in the Big Sky Conference. He's making things happen there at Idaho State. He had his team knocking on the door all season long. And then you look at Sac State, David Patrick, to have the gumption and the patience to roll with all the freshmen, take your lumps, lose 11 in a row, but then peak at the right time, and now you're in the semifinals. That's absolutely massive. Ryan Looney, a Division II national champion during his time at Point Loma, and Matt Logie, who's at Montana State, he's also a D2. That's another thing we'll get into in the pregame show tomorrow. That's another one of the topics I want to talk about. Pre-pandemic, the Big Sky on the men's side was all about head coaches who were just the slickest recruiters. Don Berlin at Idaho, Jack Murphy at NAU, Brian Fish at Montana State. They brought in great talent. What could they do, though, from a coaching perspective? Now it's like the opposite side of the coin. You got all these D2 masterminds that are running all this sweet stuff. Now the question is, can you recruit? But more importantly, at this day and age, can you retain? Stay tuned for that. That's coming up tomorrow. But let's get into these press conferences. We'll start out with the winners. Idaho State, an 8 seed, moving on to the semifinals. They will take on the winner of Montana State and Weber State in the 4-5 game. Both those teams have to be licking their chops at the draw but they got to get past each other first. And maybe you're not licking your chops if you're Weber State. 2 of your conference losses came handily to Idaho State. So it's been a topsy-turvy tournament already. And then on the other side of the bracket, Montana, they take on Portland State in the night game tomorrow. And the winner of that game will take on the winner from tonight, Sac State on the top end of the bracket, Idaho State on the bottom end of the bracket. So the 10 seed, the 8 seed move on. We'll see what happens tomorrow in the second half of the quarterfinals. Here's how the slate looks tomorrow. Montana State's women versus Northern Colorado's women is the 4-5 game there at noon. Then the Lady Grizz of Montana take on Idaho in the 2:30 game. Then you got the 5:30 4-5 game between Montana State and Weber State on the men's side. And the Grizz play the nightcap at 8 o'clock against Portland State. So we will have a pre-game YouTube for you, and we'll also have a post-game YouTube. You can also keep it always tuned at Skyline Sports MT. We'll also have a live Nuanez now from 4 to 6 p.m. tomorrow. ESPN Radio, 1029 ESPN.com, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app coming to you live from the Grove Hotel. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.
Coach, I'm going to ask you just opening comments. Sure. Go to the student athletes, and then at the very end, we'll open it up to you, to the media. We're in a short window here. We're hoping to do this in about 7 minutes.
Sounds good.
But first of all, your comments on the contest.
Yeah, it's just gut wrenching. I mean, all credit to Idaho State. I thought they played really well. So like I said, credit to them. I don't think we played very well. At the end of the day, and it's tough to have a performance like that with the season on the line, but it was definitely not from the lack of effort. Our guys played really hard. I thought we were dialed in. I thought we were prepared. I thought we knew the plan. I thought we started great. We came out. We were up 7-0. It could have been more. And what really got us was turnovers in the first half. 8 turnovers for 16 points, obviously, and you're down 3. So that was the problem. And then they just kind of controlled the flow of that entire game. So it's hard. It's hard to finish the season like that. But really proud of our guys. Love our guys.
Thank you. Opening questions for the student athletes. Anybody?
Langston, what they do defensively to slow you guys down?
They try to stop our transition a lot. That's kind of how we play. We get up and down pretty quick. All their made shots, they just made sure that everybody back and just trying to slow us down as much as they can.
If you ask questions, I'd appreciate if you use the mic because ESPN is recording this.
Bradley, similar question for you. They're like a strange matchup in the league. They do things differently. What is it that makes Idaho State different?
Yeah, I think a lot of the way they play. Not many teams these days use 2 bigs and post up as much as they do, which is very different than other teams. And the way they play is a lot slow, where we like to play fast. So a lot of times it's a bad matchup for us.
Langston, just the feeling in the locker room after this loss?
It's really low right now. We didn't expect to lose this game. We all know we could have played better. Every single guy that stepped on the floor, we all know we could have played better, but we just didn't do it tonight.
Would you like to tell me who you represent the media was?
Oh, yeah. Hi, good evening. I'm Angelini from the Greeley Tribune in Greeley, Colorado. I guess mostly this is a question for you, Steve. About 15:49 left in the second half. They went up 10, and you guys called a timeout. What did you say at that point? Maybe things were starting to slip away a little.
Yeah, I mean,
bit.
My philosophy is I usually only call timeouts just to stop a little momentum. We certainly didn't panic. I think we were fine that way, but they did have all the momentum, and so at that point, to say let's just keep playing the possession. We had a million opportunities to get back in the game. We just didn't get it done.
Yeah, I guess Riley or Langston. Sorry if I can cut out of order there. Riley and Langston. Saint didn't score in the first half. You guys still only down by 3. I think he had 6 points, 7 points, something like that. What was the mentality of the conversation at halftime? Given the fact that he was shut out.
I think for the most part it was just keep chipping away, keep doing what we're doing. We don't need to change anything. We know how to win games and we know how we play. So we just kind of tried to be us and tried to get back to what we do, and which is yeah, obviously not turning it over and making more shots and playing fast. So we were just trying to get back to being us.
Any other questions for the student athletes? He's going last. Oh, that's the order we're going.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right. Anybody else? Why don't we'll let you guys go, okay, and leave it up to the coach here.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. Okay, you have questions for the coach?
Steve, Coach Riley mentioned in the last post-game press conference, this tournament's all about playing to your identity. Do you feel like you guys did tonight?
I think our preparation, that's a good question. I think our preparation was definitely for our identity and trying to play fast. And again, we started the right way. Thought once it got tight, we probably got a little tight too. And as people mentioned, it is a hard matchup. Idaho State, they're very unique and they're good. You know, we beat them in double overtime and then we beat them by 2. They are an extremely dangerous 8 seed, and everyone knew it. They swept Weaver State this year. I mean, they're good. And so, you know, just if you don't get up, and both games in the regular season, we were up 8, 10, 12 on them, so we could kind of control the flow. But when they got up, they play so slow as well. It does really change, you know, what you're trying to do. So every possession becomes so important. You got to score, and we just couldn't score tonight.
You mentioned them sweeping Weaver State. They build that wall. They did that to Dylan Jones too. I mean, is it a similar deal that they did to St. Thomas?
You know, they didn't do it during the regular season, and it'll be interesting to see it, you know, as we watch the film, which will be a painful one to watch. But regular season, they pretty much played one-on-one and let St. go in the post. I do think that they did a little bit more aggressive, double in the post, things like that tonight. And we had great looks. We just didn't make them, you know, and that kind of went all night long. We turned the ball over. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how as they progress through the tournament. But they were definitely a little bit more aggressive on our post tonight.
One more question for the coach. Final question.
You know, Steve, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I mean, this was a kind of dangerous 8 seed, but this is a team that had lost 3 in a row entering. I mean, are you seeing a difference in this team? Are they playing with something extra with Idaho State tonight? Did you see something different tonight? Or?
You know, that's a good question. We were one of those games at the end of the year. It's a great game, and then they went to Montana. It's a great game. They got beat, but it was a great game, and so I think they have a pretty old veteran team. Guys like Braden Parker, and so I don't think they get rattled. And so, you know, it's funny how like one win can change things. They got that win last night, and that's why these games are so dang dangerous for the 1 and 2 seed. It's just here it is again. You know, EWASH gets beat again. You know what I mean? And they won the league by 3 games. They won the league outright last year, and they're going home too. And you know, it's if you can win this game as a 1 or 2 seed, you do have an advantage. But the reality situation through the course of time is that as the format has changed, 1s and 2s have been getting knocked off for years, and it's really simple that, you know, 2 seed gets 25 minutes in the court the day of the game, and the 7th seed or 8th seed or whatever seed it is, they've just won. They're confident. You got to believe. They've been in the gym, and it's why, again, that's not why we got beat tonight. Idaho State beat us, but at the end of the day, you look at a team as good as Eastern Washington the last 2 years, and it's just everyone knows these games are extremely dangerous. If you don't, our league is so balanced. Anyone can beat anybody. It's not like there's a huge gap. And so you got to survive this game, and then it can kind of buy, and the day off can really help you out. But you got to survive, and we just didn't survive.
Thanks for your time, Coach Smiley, and I hope your season's done.
Practicing for over 12 years. I was born and raised in Missoula. This is where I want to practice, this is my community, and I want to be there to help the people I grew up with.
I began my legal career in the United States Marine Corps. And I moved to Missoula, Montana and began practicing, and I just couldn't imagine a better place to live. What inspired me to become an attorney is I really have a passion for people, especially helping people. What we do here at Holloway and Hulling is we represent people that are in a very difficult time of their life, and we're here to make sure that their rights are protected and they get what they deserve.
Left is, or right is Malik Arlington, number 3 are our athletes. So who wants to start with questions? Please identify yourself. Thank you.
Yeah, Brandon Walton with the Idaho State Journal. I mean, Malik, I'll start with you, man. You were extra jazzed, you know, to get that win. This is the first time since 2009 this team is going to the conference tournament semifinals. Just what's it feeling, man, to get this win?
Man, it feels great. I mean, you know, I have a lot of passion in winning, and I feel like, you know, today, you know, as we showed that we really want to fight and win. And I feel like, you know, all the Bengal fans back home, everybody, you know, fans here, everybody's hyped, and I feel like all that momentum going into the next game is big.
Miguel, I mean, did you expect this? I don't know if anyone else did. Did you expect you guys to make a run like this in the semis?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to expect any less, of course. I think we've worked hard all season. And, you know, we've had a couple games, well, more than a couple, we've had a lot of games where we've lost by 2 or 1. And so it's good that, you know, at the end of the season, we're starting to figure it out. It's a perfect time to do it.
You know, and Miguel, just kind of talk about the journey to get here. You know, a lot of losing seasons, and you've kind of been a part of a couple. I mean, just to overcome all that and get to this point, does it just make it that much sweeter to see what this program's overcome to get here?
No, for sure. And obviously, you know, the history of Idaho State basketball is, you know, it was on the come up for a long time. So I think it's really good that, you know, Coach Looney being in his 5th year, and, you know, getting to this point now, where he's taken Idaho State from the beginning to now is a big step, and I'm confident for the next 2 games.
Malik, what was your defensive game plan coming in? You guys executed it really well, but what was sort of the priority?
Yeah, so we wanted to contain St. Thomas, obviously. You know, he's a great scorer. And so I feel like Isaiah Griffin did a great job on him all game. And then we just wanted to finish possessions. I mean, at the end of the game, we let them get a couple offensive rebounds, but, you know, we started to block them out and, you know, change things like that to be able to come up with the win. So,
You know, and Malik, I mean, you guys fell down in an early 7-0 hole there, but I mean, you guys responded. What's that kind of say about you guys? You guys won a couple big runs there, you know, to kind of overcome that deficit, because the game maybe could have got out of hand at that point. Does that say a lot about you guys?
Yeah,
I
mean, I think it shows that we have fight. I mean, that we'll never, it doesn't matter what the score is, we'll keep playing hard. And I feel like, I mean, 7 points in a college basketball game is nothing. So, especially that early in the game. So, you know, we huddled up and we just told each other to keep going and, follow the game plan so we can come out with the W and we did that.
You know, Miguel, and, you know, Ryan's kind of talked about it, those close games where the game tightens up. You guys have lost a lot of those. And at the end, it kind of tightened up. They get within 6. But, you know, Kyrie scores 5 in a row. Is that a big growing moment for you guys to finally finish a close game like that?
Yeah, no, but like I said, it's in the perfect time to start finishing the games like this moving forward. I feel like that gives us a lot of momentum and confidence, knowing that, you know, they were the number 2 team and we were able to close it out. You know, they hit a couple shots at the end, but we got in our press break, made free throws down the stretch, which was huge. We weren't doing that in the beginning of the season. So being able to have everyone go out there and make free throws, rebound, close the game out was huge.
Last question for student athletes.
This could be for both you guys. I mean, I'll start with you, Miguel. How far can this team go, man?
We go all the way to the tournament. I'm not going to say anything more, but we go all the way to the tournament.
Same thing.
Miguel, Malik, congratulations. Great win for you guys. You can hang or you can take off wherever you want. Now I'll have Coach talk about the Big B. And, you know, they talked about this tournament, how any team can win it, men or women, and it sure looks that way. And great start for your squad.
Yeah, I'm really proud of our players, our staff. You guys have alluded to it already. We had a ton of close games throughout the regular season. I keep saying it, 11 games that were decided by 2 points or less. I look at the stat sheet. A lot of those games where we came out on the wrong end, there were some self-inflicted type wounds with them. These guys will probably laugh a little bit, but like some missed free throws late in games that cost us. I think sometimes people don't realize, and maybe these guys didn't even realize at some points while it was happening, there's moments in the game where a coach can't call a timeout, right, until 2 minutes left during the game. So we even had moments where, like, early in the season, a guy got himself in a tough spot during live play, needed to call a timeout on his own. We ended up turning it over, let the other team back in the game, and ended up losing. I thought tonight that changed, right? We had a couple moments with more than 2 minutes left in the game where it seems like such a little thing, but the guys had the intelligence on their own to call some timeouts in that area to allow us to secure the ball and eventually get ourselves to the free throw line.
We have time 2 more questions. Here's one right here.
Hey, Colter, Nuanez, Skyline Sports. What can you say about your team, Coach? You mentioned all the close games. Just staying with this and now getting to this point, 2 wins in a row.
Yeah, it's hard staying with it. It takes some mental toughness for sure. I mean, there were definitely moments where all of us were doubting ourselves during the year, but I think the big thing is just finding a way to stay the course. The truth is, you look at us on paper, we are a young team. We only have 1 senior. So to kind of just use those as growth moments and kind of just stay the course as a group, obviously I think everyone can see that's helping us out right now.
Hi, gentlemen. I'm Angelini from the Greeley Tribune covering UNC, and I guess, Coach, for you, how'd you guys hold St. Thomas to 12 points on 4 of 11 shooting? What'd you do to them?
So team defense was part of it, definitely. We had a very specific plan what we wanted to do with handoffs and ball screens that he was in. Early in the game, we also had a very distinct coverage we wanted to execute when he took the ball into the post. But like we talked about our team growing, and these guys can back me up with it. There were moments in the game where we changed from what we originally planned. We were going to try to go over the top of all handoffs. We started going underneath them. I thought that disrupted them a little bit. We changed these first 2 games in the conference tournament so far with what we're doing with our ball screen coverage, and these guys have adjusted to that. Truth is, Isaiah Griffin is growing and becoming a better defender. I think he took some pride in that matchup tonight. Malik right here is being pretty humble. We think in our program he's as good as any defender in the Big Sky, so we put Malik on a player that St. Thomas would get in some screening actions with, so we switched those and then got what we thought was our best defender on their best offensive player.
Thanks, Coach Looney. Congratulations.
Meeting her stopped your world. The ring you give her should stop her heart.
Tina, will you marry me?
Not again!
Don't worry, I'm gonna fix this because we want to be your jeweler. Aren't our beautiful diamond? Clear! Come back to me, Tina!
Are you okay?